As registrar of JAMB, I hold myself personally responsible including for the negligence of the service provider and I unreservedly apologize for it. And the trauma it has affected Nigerians to, directly or indirectly. We have decided that all the candidates affected in the 157 centers of the 882 be contacted to retake their examinations. These candidates are to be contacted through text messages addressed to their registered phone number from tomorrow, their email addresses, their profiles, and phone calls by JAMB. They are directed to reprint their examination slips for the rescheduled examination dates.
This is unprecedented. This is unprecedented. JAMB is admitting error for the first time, for the life of me. Oloyede, you are admitting error. A public official crying on top of that. I've never seen that before. Never have I seen that ever with any public official. In fact, what the best would have heard is there was an error in the exam and we have to redo everything. But he's saying that no, there's not error in everything, but the entire Southeast states and then Lagos are going to be repeating their JAMB. And he cried. A public official cried for failing in his duty. That should be an eyesore. A Nigerian public official, let me tell you how it works in Nigeria. When a public official of this magnitude, does something bad, does something wrong, he tries to parry it. He tries to, impose himself. He tries to tell you all sorts of stories and tell you the reasons why he failed. But this guy nailed it. He sucked it up and said, you know what, I've got to apologize. I've got to cry. Whether he is being dramatic or he isn't being dramatic, my friend, I really don't care. I'm just reeling on that thoughts of seeing a Nigerian public official cry because they are not able to deliver up to the standard that they're supposed to. This is stunning. Stunning! Anyways, Nigerians have been reacting to this though. I just wanted to read a few of the reactions I've seen on social media. One Ibukunle says, I don't understand. They are clapping for a man that should have resigned. A young girl was reported to have had committed suicide because of her poor JAMB results. Clapping for extreme mediocrity in educational sector clearly shows how terrible our value system is in this country. The other one says, Chief Ajiji says, a child committed suicide because of this. This is pure recklessness. Someone must be punished. Orobene says, the purpose of this theatrics is to avoid a class action lawsuit. In a working climb, everyone involved should be resigning and not crying for the camera. Damn, that's true. That's true to some extent. SGT Show says, all of you accusing all the kids that failed for being on TikTok, will you swallow your words now? Ha 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 ha. Mike Adeyemi says, I truly appreciate the level of transparency from JAMB. This is how we build a sane society. But there must be accountability for this incident, and those responsible should face the consequences. So the Godfather says he should break down out of the office. and should be in jail. Let him cry there. A lady has committed suicide because of this. Countless people have faced embarrassment and depression for it. Families have been scattered for it, and these crocodile tears won't cut it. Victor Bassi says the JAMB Registrar was in tears admitting to errors that affected thousands of UTME results, and some people in the audience were clapping. This is not a performance, students. This is not a performance. Students' futures are on the line. What exactly are you clapping for? Amani says, crying doesn't fix incompetence and failure. Students studied for months, parents sacrificed, and your incompetence wrecked futures. Now it's sorry and tears. Accountability, tears. He has to step aside. Enough damage already. Repeating selected center will only worsen acrimony. This is from Ike Supreme. Why not repeat the whole process at a later date, not just a short notice for another exam? People need to heal from the trauma before writing another exam. Good point, man. It's good he took responsibility. Nice one. I hope the affected students find positive hope in this. My brother really complained about the system shutting down, and some questions are also not clear. He scored 143. This one says, at least it took responsibility. Babaswala Kuti says, at least some people still have a conscience in Nigeria. Some would have just told them to go to court. May the soul of that poor child who died by suicide rest in peace. Such a needless tragedy. It's crazy, really. I mean, this comments, reinforces some of my thinking, some of my thoughts, really. Truth be told, that conference shouldn't have happened. That conference should have been his admittance of the problem and his explaining of the problem, of the issues, and then resigned. That is what it should have been. Frankly speaking, I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. In sane climate, we can agree that we're not in a sane climb, right? We're not in a sane climb. So let's just put it that way. It's not sane, it's not a sane environment. And so when these kinds of things happen, first of all, I said that this should be a joke, right? JAMB at meeting. And for him, crying is not enough. What exactly happened? Because he didn't explain further what happened. He says glitches, hitches. I mean, just like what INEC is telling us up until this moment. Nothing concrete has been said to us. The difference between this guy and Mahmoud Yakubu is just glitch. No, the tears, actually. The tears is just the difference between Mahmoud, that's the INEC chairman, and this JAMB guy, Oloyede. The difference is just glitch. The difference is that we didn't have people crying. Mahmoud didn't cry. And Oloyede cried, whether he meant it from his heart or not, it's really nothing. There must be consequences for bad behavior, for not doing things right. I would have loved that he explains, because it feels to me that he is trying to save some people's jobs. Yes, that's what it feels to me. It feels to me he's trying to cover up the people whom he may have given some jobs to do, and they probably didn't do it well, or the contract didn't fall through, or because it takes a lot for a man to cry. So I'm just thinking to myself, why would this man come to this point? To come to the public to cry? Is it to power his sentiment? This is the national tragedy. It's an exam that the country looks out for every single year, and you bundled it. I mean, it takes you 12 months to start preparing for the next JAMB exams, and then you bungled it, and you are crying as what? And you are telling people that, well, you are going to prepare for the next exam. You should not be presiding over the next exam. Somebody else should be presiding over the next exam, because you probably may have failed in your right. You have punctured the only thing in terms of exam. We know that all other exams have been bastardized. The NECOs, the SSE, we just know that those exams are not really exams you can point out and say, you know what, they're competent exams, because of how people already see the questions and even have the answers before the day of the exams. But this particular one, JAMB, is actually one of the exams you can point to and say, well, yes, it's one of the exams in Nigeria that you can attest to being wonderful. You can attest to being legitimate, but you have bungled it. How are we sure the reason why you are crying is because you were in the verge of taking the right decision, but you refused to take that decision to do the right thing because you wanted to cut corners? How are we sure it's not that? So I'm just piecing things together, all right? But my immediate thinking, beyond just crying, if we must have to do things right in this country, somebody would have to, in one way or another, take responsibility. And beyond taking responsibility, they must leave their seat. They must go. They must leave. There's no two ways about it. If you can muster the strength to cry in public, you are not able to muster the strength to explain what happened, only to tell us that it is a glitch, like what INEC did in 2023. The presidential election came and it was a glitch, but House of Reps, Senate didn't have a glitch, but the presidential election had a glitch. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Let me know. It's crazy, man. But I'm just saying that Mahmoud did not lose his job even after the president took over office, after telling Nigerians that it was a glitch. There was no consequences for bad behavior. For a presidential election that was the most anticipated in Nigeria, 2023 elections, you come out to tell us it was a glitch, and there is no consequences for that bad behavior. Then we have another person who is doing the same thing. What do you expect? What do you expect? He is going to go scot-free. Nothing's going to happen to him. He's probably going to get a pat in the back. Oh, next time don't cry in public. Just give me a call. I'll settle it for you. This guy is not going to go anywhere. After all, what's his name? He is not from your regular North Central. He's not from your regular Southeast or South or Northwest. He is from the cocoon. Yeah, Southwest. And Southwest is in power. Nothing happens to any Southwesterner. Nothing ever happens except, well, they don't play ball. Don't say I didn't tell you. Quote me, baby.